this particular day in 1971. It was the first fight between Ali and Fraser. We'll deal with more of this after 2 o'clock. Andy Raymond joins us, unfiltered as he always does. The ARU. Mate, you'll remember that, the Fraser Ali. My God, was there ever better boxing than that?
Terrific boxing. What a terrific era. Throw in George Foreman and they've left us with memories and moments that will last our lifetime.
Memories and moments that will last the lifetime. Say it after me. It is our year. That Warriors performance, the stand out from the weekend. Tell me.
We're on our way. We've said that, and I'm hoping you're in a terrific mood this week.
Thank
because
you.
The Warriors did what you expected. They did what I expected, and they started the march. Look, it's only a first step. We know that, but it's a first step, and there's 8 sides that didn't make the first step last weekend. Huge task up against a bitterly disappointed Roosters this week. But I tell you what, if there was any week I would want to be facing the Roosters, it'd be this week. They looked like garbage last Sunday against the Dolphins. And a little bit of confidence for their Saturday game for the Warriors. I can't wait.
Yeah, the other flip side of that, of course, is the bounce back, and can the Roosters play that badly again? However, rather than focus on that, I'd like to focus on that Dolphin side, which were down 12-6. And at that stage, Andy, I'm sure like you and everyone else, I was watching thinking, they're going to run away with this, the Roosters. And the absolute exact opposite happened.
It was bizarre, wasn't it? I mean, we've both seen enough sport to believe that we sort of, you know the script or you've seen the script before.
Yeah.
But this was anything but script. It was amazing. And again, we speak about it a lot, mate. It was theatre, it was emotion, and it was terrific. And I don't think there would have been a person Australia-wide that wasn't cheering for the Dolphins. There wouldn't have been a person in New Zealand that wasn't cheering for the Dolphins, bar the absolutely tragic Roosters supporters. Good for the game, mate. It really was. It was good for the game and a great kickstart for the Dolphins.
Oh, you posh twat, Vaucluse, Eastern Suburbs, toss Roosters. Nobody gives... That's the reaction, wasn't it?
100% was the reaction. Go and hide under your celery sombrero, basically.
You got another floor in the house to go and sulk at. Go and do that. You know what I mean?
That is exactly right, my friend. Exactly right. It was terrific, and everyone, took notice and thought it was great. Obviously, the issue is backing it up, and certainly not as easy as you'd think. But yeah, again, mate, all they can do is beat the team in front of them. They did that, and it is a quality first step. But I've got to say, mate, away from the field, rugby league has given us so many moments and so many screwed up quotes over the years that it tickles me. It makes me giggle. As a 51-year-old man, it makes me giggle. And Latrell Mitchell, that wonderful orator, this week, in preparation for the Panthers, he has stated, and I quote, "I think there's a few cracks in the windscreen." Now, Mr. Mitchell, I am thinking cracks in the wall, cracks in the pavement, perhaps cracks in the ice. I have not heard before cracks in the windscreen in reference to some cracks appearing in a sporting team. So I think that is absolutely terrific. Ivan Cleary almost had a chuckle at the media this morning in regards to that. He said, we don't need the extra motivation when we're not going to look at it. We lost a game of footy, big deal. But to Latrell, thank you very much for just putting a smile on my face.
Yeah, I'm wondering, as soon as you said that, you see, I was over in the Gold Coast when Payne Haas's feral mother drove away from the police at whatever speed she was driving, drunk, and killed burnt alive a couple of people in a car. So, your cracked windscreen, dude, I'd rather actually some other vernacular was used. I mean, I know he probably didn't actually occur to him, but a cracked windscreen says to me a car smash. But anyway, I'll move on from that. Look, what I love about the NRL, and we get into week 2 already, and this is something that Super Rugby, and I'm not making comparisons, but it's something that Super Rugby has got to get its head around. You need to actually look at a fixture list and go, okay, give me a couple of glamours every week. Panthers, Rabbitohs tomorrow night, mate. What a way to kick it off. Eels, Sharks, 2 desperate teams who both lost. Broncos, Cowboys. There you've got a local derby, both 1-point winners. Roosters, Warriors. Dolphins, Raiders. I mean, it just goes on. Storm, Bulldogs. So the first 6 games. I mean, I don't know what else I'm going to do with my weekend.
Mate, that's a really good point from a marketing perspective. You've got to have that showcase showdown to promote. And look, it probably can't happen every single week, but you can work it in your favour when you're doing the draw to make sure you do have that showpiece that you can hang your hat on, that you can promote to, mum, dad and the kids. And the first 3 games this weekend, I mean, even not looking beyond Friday, absolutely terrific.
Yeah,
Panthers, Rabbitohs, as you said, Eels, Sharks, Broncos, Cowboys.
Brilliant.
What a way to start, your rugby league weekend. And that has the flow-on effect, Marty. If you enjoy the first 3 games of the weekend, you might actually have a look at the 4th and 5th one that you don't normally do because the footy's been so good.
Is Eddie Jones going to start poaching players, mate? Because Cam Murray's one, Joseph Swali is the second. I mean, I know he's cheeky about this, but talking to Phil Good, I was watching that the other day, the look on his face and that, he loves sticking it up, doesn't he? But I think there's something more sinister going on here.
I think it's going to be the same old story. And this is just my opinion.
Yep.
I think every player manager over the next 2 years with a marquee player off contract, the player will be told throughout a press conference or a journo will be tipped up to ask the question and say rugby union isn't out of the equation.
Right, okay.
They will get 1 or 2, but the fact of the matter is it's a marketing tool, it's a branding tool, and it's a tool to add an extra $50,000 to their next contract. I don't see a Cameron Murray going. I see some of the younger guys maybe exploring that. A Suali, perhaps. There's a couple from Manly. Mate, there are a few targets around, but what Eddie Jones needs, and he needs it, he needs the marquee signing. He was the marquee signing for the Australian Rugby Union.
Yes, he was. Now
he needs the marquee signing in terms of players. And I think Suali is probably that marquee that they're going to throw the house at. And if they do that, I think they're a better than average chance of grabbing him on an extended deal. For the others, I think it'll just be driving up prices.
Yeah, because the other thing, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, surely the RTS, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck thing would put a lot of players off. But the key difference is that if you're one of those guys, you're talking about Swaley, or, if he gets signed, he's in the Wallabies, there's no question about that, because he's going to be better than everyone else that's playing those positions. Yep. Whereas the problem that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's got is that he's playing rugby in a country where there's 5 or 6 guys that are better than him in those positions already, and you've got to actually fight for your place. So when they signed Lodi Takira and they signed Wendell Saylor and they signed Matt Rogers and that, those guys went straight into the team. That doesn't happen. Well, it did with Sonny Bill, of course, because Sonny Bill's, a different athlete.
That's right.
But it did take him some time. They played him NPC, took him on the end of year tour. So it's just not that easy in New Zealand to do that. But look, I totally agree with you. I wanted to finish on the most violent of afternoons, and I've been talking about this throughout the show. This is the tweet that you put out with your podcast, and I said to people, I'm not going to spoil the surprise because I wanted you to fully explain this. And I'm presuming when you say that you're tracking back to the 70s or the 80s and a certain weekend in rugby league at that time. Is that right?
100%, mate. It was 1981. It was a semi-final at the SCG. It was Manly versus Newtown. And this is back in the day where, fighting one-on-one was allowed. It was almost encouraged, if we're going to be brutally honest. And both sides knew it was on. And in one of the first scrums, it started between the front rowers, and you have never seen anything quite like this in your life. It went for 3.5 minutes.
I remember this, and it went all over the ground, didn't it? It just kept popping up all over the place. Yes.
One spot fire would stop and another would start. Redonicus, Boyd, Randall, Dorahy, some wonderful names. But the main event was Mark Broadhurst, a famous New Zealander and a famously tough New Zealander, and Steve Bowden. And Rex Mossop was in commentary saying they are going at it like two heavyweight prize fighters, and they were just trading punches one for one, but then the headbutt started from Steve Bowden. It was as brutal and violent as anything you will ever see on a sporting field. And this week on the podcast, our Legend series is with John Doherty, who was on the field that day. And I'll reveal just a little bit of what he has said. But he jumped onto Mark Broadhurst, his teammate, to protect him because he saw how much of a flogging he had copped. He said, the next thing I heard was a thud. He said, and I looked over, he said, my teammate Terry Randall had kicked Steve Bowden in the face to get him off us.
Oh, Lord. And look, there's no criminal charges or anything like that, isn't it? How do people look? I mean, part of the importance of this is how did everyone react at the time? How did the players react? There wasn't anything like a judiciary back then. How did the actual NRL or whatever the ARL? How did they react to this?
Mate, I can't remember the suspensions, but I think both Broadhurst and Bowden did serve some time the following year. I'll have to go back and check that. But it is absolutely incredible. And John Doherty, who went by the name Joe Cool, represented New South Wales, also represented Australia. He tells the full story for the first time, and he actually lived across the road from Mark Broadhurst. And it was long after the game. It was that night. They had a function to attend, and he went over to Mark's house, and what he saw still haunts him to this very day. It's very emotional. It's a moment in time. Rugby league on a bad day. We're glad those days are gone. But the story is as good a rugby league or as good a sporting story as you'll ever hear.
It's the most violent of afternoons. It's ARU, Andy Raymond Unfiltered, the podcast. Before we finish then, I'm going to give it a drum roll because it deserves one. All right. Right here, right now, on this program, on Wednesday the 8th of March, in the year of our Lord 2023, one Andy Raymond Unfiltered talking to Martin Devlin, Untamed. The top 8 right now, yes or no, are the Warriors in the 8?
Yes, the Warriors are in the 8. You're trying to catch me out.
Yeah,
you're trying to catch a really simple Aussie bloke out on New Zealand radio, and you're trying to trick me. And I'm not going to fall for it. And you can ask me this next week, Mr. Devlin, and I'm going to say the same thing, unless, of course, the Warriors get beaten by 40. Then I might rethink.
Hang
but
on
at the moment, the Warriors are in the 8.
I'm just looking for the Eels. I think they're down here under here somewhere. The Eels. I think they were down under.
No, we're not getting into this.
It's round 1, mate. It might be the only round I get to do it, mate.
Would somebody write this bloke in, please?
Take it, look at it, suck it, enjoy it, mate. Look at where we are on the table. Look at it.
Oh, dear. I'm a very upset Parramatta fan. But never mind, we'll probably lose to the Sharks and you can give it to me next week.
I hope so, my friend. Thank you, Andy. Andy Raymond Unfiltered is with us every Wednesday on the platform.